everybody, and welcome to another episode of Insufficient Friends. I'm Kevin. She's Nikki.
Hi.
And if you are new here, this is a podcast where we talk about whatever we want to. And this week, what we want to is back to school. But before we get into that, Nick, how was your week? Was there anything interesting or fun that happened this week?
No.
No? Okay. Well, that was anticlimactic.
Yeah. I was thinking for a second. I was like, wait, was there? And no, there was not. How about you?
No.
Okay. We're very interesting people to have a podcast.
Yes, exactly.
This is like enthralling.
Yeah, no, really nothing
If I
going
was
on.
a listener, I would be so on the edge of my seat ready to listen
Everybody's
right now.
so excited to listen to this. Yeah, the most exciting thing that happened well, this isn't exciting. I just told you like 5 seconds ago that for some reason my keyboard on my computer is acting up. The like extra one, like not the like actual one that's connected to my computer, but the like side one. And whenever I type something, it does like 4 different characters and pulls up other programs, and I don't know why it's doing that. So, that's fun. But other than that, nothing's really going on. It's just another week. So
Yeah.
we're pretty boring. We're insufficient. We're boring. It's just what it is around here.
I don't feel like I'm boring most of the time.
Yeah.
But
I think we sound more boring than we
boring.
are. Yeah.
Yeah. We also why do we do this? Well, okay, I know why we do this to ourselves. We record on Friday nights after work.
Yep. So we're both tired.
We're both tired.
Yep.
But you know what? That's the only day that works usually.
Usually, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So
we do it to ourselves.
Yeah, we kind of do. But anyway, who do you have? Do you have any shout outs this week? Yes.
Yep.
Because I don't have any. I don't have any shout outs, but I do have a little bit of a rant for YouTube that I will get to here in a second. It's not specifically about YouTube, but it's a little bit of a annoyance that I have going on right now. But we'll get to that in a second.
So my shout out is Stevie. I sent her the reel because I knew she would die. I sent her the reel of, we started the baddies of the Middle Ages episode, and I asked you to
the Jack Sparrow thing?
in your words, what you think a baddie is. And you said Jack Sparrow, which is completely incorrect as to like the pop culture use of baddie nowadays.
Yeah, I mean,
which I explained to you, but anyway, she was saying but I stayed pretty like calm. I let you explain why you think Jack Sparrow is the definition of baddie, and I cut my tongue for a minute. And Stevie said, the way I would have been bursting at the seams to explain what a baddie is after he said Jack Sparrow with the laughing face.
Yeah, I'm sure. Hey, you know what?
She thought that was funny.
When I typed in baddie too, like I know Urban Dictionary is a strong independent woman. You talked about that, but also like a bad guy in a British movie is a lot of time like that's another name a thing that I saw come up. So like I don't know. Like what am I supposed to? Come on, people. Like I don't know this kind of crap.
I mean, I guess Jack Sparrow could very well be a baddie.
I don't
some
know.
people definitely consider him a baddie, but like not how you were using
not
it.
not really. But it's just the first thing
it was
in my
just
head.
funny.
So, but anyway, yes. The other interesting thing we had this week was our YouTube channel had one of our shorts blocked, which I told you about this, and it annoys the crap out of me. And this will be short. Because I know a lot of YouTubers have had this problem, but it still annoyed me. But we try to be up and up on everything that we do. So the music that you guys hear on here that are like theme music is paid for.
Yeah,
it's not royalty free music. I bought it. I bought the rights to it to use it for our podcast.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the company that, or a company, I don't know if it's the one that is actually along it because it doesn't say them, it says some other random company that I don't know of,
Mm.
blocked one of our videos saying that we don't have the rights to it or something like that, and said that it's copyrighted
Mm-hmm.
music and whatever. And it's, and when I went to dispute it, they said that they still have a claim, and it irritated the crap out of me. So we're
Mm.
gonna see how that goes, but I don't know. It kind of just annoyed me because I sent them
Mm-hmm.
their license and the invoice from the thing that I bought, and they just still
Yeah.
just said, "Well, no, we still have a claim." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I paid you guys for this. That's the whole
Mm-hmm.
point of this." But
Interesting.
whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, so yes, we do try to, like, not saying that other people don't, but we do try
Mm-hmm.
to. We don't play any other music. We play what we have bought, and that's why you don't hear any other things on here, because I don't really want to get crap. We don't make money on
We don't
this.
want our podcast to be shut down for
No.
our 4
Yeah, the
listeners.
4 of you that watch this, we don't want it to be shut down. Like, gosh, what would you
I
guys
always say
do?
4. I think it's genuinely closer to like
Two?
10.
Oh.
No, I've talked to several people that are like, "Oh, I listen every week."
Oh,
I'm like,
well, that's nice.
"Wow, that's wild. I probably wouldn't, but I'm glad you do."
Uh,
So,
yeah.
thank you to
Yes.
those
Thank you
people.
for the 10 of you that actually listen then. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's fun.
I hope others have fun listening. Okay. I realize we've been talking for like 10 minutes and haven't even gotten to the topic, so maybe we should like do that soon, but I hope that people listening have as much fun as we do, like talking about just whatever.
Random crap.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, like I hope it is genuinely fun to listen to, but at the end of the day, it's just for
It
funsies.
really is just
So,
for
if
us
people
to.
could like stop trying to like shut it down, that would be great.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway,
yeah.
so Nick, we're like, well, I guess we're anywhere around back to school time. It's the beginning of
Yeah,
August.
somewhere
Schools
around
all
there.
go back to different times, but we're getting close to back to school time, which
Hmm.
um so glad I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah,
Not that going
same.
to work every single day of the year really makes that much of a difference, but the whole like being on break and then having to go back to doing something like that is just,
Hmm.
was kind of a pain in the butt. Um, so anyway, we're
Yeah.
talking about back to school today.
Hmm.
Um, what what memories do you have
Hmm.
from going back to school? Like, what do you have fond
Yeah.
memories of going back to school? Were you one of those kids?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I
Of,
was one of those kids,
of
Kev.
course
You
you were.
should know
Yeah,
that
of course you
answer.
were. Yeah, I know.
I was teacher's pet. I was in the back pocket of every teacher. I loved school. I loved learning. Granted, I still love learning,
Yeah, I like
just
learning too.
not in a school testing environment
Yeah.
because college really took it out of me. But I still loved learning. But I was 100% that kid. Um, so my back to school memories, um, I don't have many specifics that I remember because it's hard for me to remember that far back, but
I get
I
that.
do remember like picking out backpacks.
Okay.
That was a big thing. And so when Nathan and I would get a new backpack each year, because we would destroy ours, because they get destroyed throughout the year.
Yeah, they just do.
But that was a big thing, having a cool, fun backpack that matched your personality and everything. And then binders too. So when we got old enough to where they started wanting us to have like binders to carry from class to class, picking up those and the pencils to go in the slots and my pink calculator. It was fun to pick all that stuff out.
Yeah.
Um, but mostly it was just I loved school and I loved my friends. So it's more so like a feeling I remember than a specific memory.
Okay. Did
Yeah.
you did you go to the same school your entire like childhood, or did you move to different school districts or different schools or anything like that?
Same school district my entire childhood. Now, if we're including like pre-kindergarten, I think my parents had like an at-home lady because we had moved to Kansas City from St. Louis, but like kindergarten through fifth grade was the same elementary school. Sixth grade through eighth grade was the same middle school and then the same high school. So all within the same district.
Okay.
Like I never moved or anything.
Okay.
Mhm.
We moved a lot. Not far when I was a kid, but from when I was born, I did the math one
Mhm.
time. From when I was born to when I turned 18, I moved on average every 2 years. Never moved far.
Yikes.
We always
Yeah.
stayed in the same town, but I moved school districts almost every single time.
Yeah.
So, well, not school districts, but I moved to a different school.
Schools.
So,
That's
even though I stayed in
wild.
the same district, and one time I
Hmm.
moved back to the same school, which was weird too. So,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
so I
Yeah, we were in the
didn't.
same house my entire childhood until I went to college. Then my parents built a new house.
Yeah,
And it, literally it's same, yeah,
I had a. I mean,
that's crazy.
I had a few friends that I like were friends with all year round, and I talked to even when I wasn't in
Hmm.
school. So it didn't. I don't remember
Yeah.
having friends that were just like school friends that I only saw at school. So I don't
Hmm.
remember having that, like, um, wanting to go
Yeah.
back just to see friends because I didn't. There wasn't anybody that I really cared
Yeah.
about that I didn't. You know what I mean? There wasn't anybody that I cared
Hmm.
about seeing that I didn't see already because if I was friends with you,
Yeah.
I was hanging out with you
That makes
at other
sense.
times.
I obviously I went to the same school. So
Hmm.
all my friends, I went to school and they were there. Now, I had friends that went to other schools, of course, especially for softball, like because summer
Yeah.
we played with girls from all over, Kansas City and Kansas. And so um I had friends that weren't school friends, but like when I when I have fond memories of school, it's because I had and often like the same friends for a very long time at the
Hmm.
same school. We were all in the same place. Like Mariah, who's been on this podcast, we met in kindergarten. Um, my friend Lauren, we met in middle school. Kaylee and Chelsea, Kaylee always went to the same school as me. We met in kindergarten or first grade, second grade, somewhere in there because we played t-ball together. Um, so yeah, I feel like I either have very, very old friends or like adult friends,
Yeah.
like that I met like after college,
Yeah.
or during
Me.
college or after college.
Me.
Yeah.
Yep. I fall in
Yeah,
that category.
exactly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah. I didn't have like. I didn't care about. I would say I probably didn't care about going back to school. Um,
Hmm.
my birthday's around the time that you go back to school, so that was
That's
kind of
not fun.
just whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
so that it just kind of was what it
Yeah.
was. Like
Did you enjoy school?
I think I enjoyed it a little more when I was older than I did when I was
Yeah.
younger. I didn't have a
Okay.
problem with it when I was in like high school and a little
Hmm.
bit in middle school. When I
Hmm.
was when I was a little kid, I don't really remember a lot from when I was littler. Um,
Hmm.
but I know I was a big talker. Shocking. When I was
Yeah.
little, so I got in trouble a lot for talking a lot when I was little and things. So, I
Mm. That's funny. I was always I like to talk now. Well, I'm an amnivert. I talk when I have to or when I want to. And if I don't want to, I will go silent for a day and like only talk to Opie if I'm yelling at him or something. So I'm like in the middle, like I don't have to talk to people, you
yeah,
know? So I, in school, unless I was talking to my friends or something, I was very quiet because I wanted to follow the rules. I wanted to be a good girl. I wanted to be teacher's pet. I wanted good grades.
hmm.
I was like perfectionist to the max. Now, so I had called my mom to ask if she had any memories of me going back to school. She's like, I don't know. I never took you to school and I never shopped for you and I didn't make your lunches. I'm like, oh yeah, I should have called dad because dad made our lunches.
Okay.
We rode the bus, but I
Yeah.
feel like occasionally he would take us to school. Like if there was anything to be done, usually dad would be doing it. Um, just because mom went to work at like 4:30 in the morning or something because she was a manager of a store.
Mm-hmm.
So he had more of a schedule that aligned.
Yeah.
Whether it was that or whether she just didn't want to, I don't know. But my dad was definitely super dad for sure. So, but I don't know. I feel like when I look back, it's just fond memories of loving school and excited to see friends. Not anything specific though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember some of the teachers that especially the ones that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I have fond memories, like I said, of like high school and stuff. But
Yeah.
other than that, it wasn't
Was the
really.
transition ever hard from you, whether it was summer to school or school to summer in the spring? Was that ever a hard transition for you?
Not that I can remember.
Hmm.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Because most of the ones that I remember, again, were when I was older. And
Hmm.
when I started to get older, I started working for my dad during the summer for his business.
Mm,
So I was getting up in the morning anyway and going and doing stuff and
yeah.
coming home. And so I was working a 9 to 5 job every day. So it didn't really
Yeah,
make a
that's true.
difference. Like, you know, to
Yeah.
just make some extra money or do whatever, like just something to do. So, um,
Yeah.
and when I didn't
I
do that,
was,
when I was
mm,
younger, we had there was a camp, like a day camp thing that I went to
yeah.
that was called it was through uh my mom. I think it was through my mom's work at the hospital. It was called
Hmm.
Summer Shenanigans is what it was called. But it's what it was called. I believe that's
Hmm.
what it was called. That's what I remember it being.
Okay.
That's what I remember it being called. But
Hmm.
every day you went to, it was like a day camp. They had like the kids were like separated into different age groups or different grade groups,
Hmm. Yeah.
and they were and every day there was a different like field activity that you would go on. So like you would either go to the almost every week you went to one of the public pools in town one of the days,
Hmm.
and then they would go to like we would go on like field trips to like a museum in town or the zoo or something like that. But every day
Hmm.
there was a different place that we went. That
Oh,
was like
that's fun.
a short little like a 2 or 3 hours that we would go, and then the rest of the day you were
Hmm.
at wherever their main spot was. It kind of moved around a couple
Yeah.
times, but wherever their main spot was, and they had like games that they would play. They had like a
Hmm.
gym where you could just play stuff. They were always playing music and just kind of goofing off and doing whatever. They had like recess
Yeah.
outside and all kinds of
Interesting.
stuff. So
I don't remember ever doing anything like that. The only thing I remember about the transition from not necessarily summer to school, because I was happy and excited to go back to school, but school to summer,
mm-hmm.
I was excited for summer because it meant sports and, sleeping in a little bit and whatever. But shocker, I'm really dramatic. And I remember watching Mamma Mia and the scene where Meryl Streep and I can't remember, I'm blanking on her name right now, the daughter sing Slipping Through My Fingers All the Time or whatever the title of that song is, but it's about like growing up and her getting married and whatever and they're both like crying. Um I was like traumatized by that in like I was scared of growing up kind of,
Yeah,
or like growing up. I don't know. I loved my family, I loved my friends, and
yeah.
so every year I would just be like reminded of like that emotion, and then I feel like I cried like every year, which shocking.
So
um
you had
but
you had basically an existential life crisis of growing old
Yeah.
every year, like Peter Pan syndrome every year.
Yeah, which
Nice.
then I grew up and learned that's called anxiety. And now I'm medicated. But because normal 7-year-olds shouldn't be crying about that.
No,
But
no, they shouldn't.
yeah, so now I know what that was. But back then I just thought I was dramatic, which is also true. But
Yeah, you are
um,
dramatic, that's for sure. But
yeah. So I that was
yeah.
always like the emotions I had. I love school, so yes, I was excited for summer. I remember playing video games with Nathan and going on family trips and playing sports and stuff. But I also really liked school. So, but I feel like as a well, obviously neither of us are parents,
No.
but if I had to assume like what my parents were feeling, I probably should have asked them this. But like I think they were probably had the same feeling. Like they were excited to see us go back to school because it was less that they had to
Hmm.
think about scheduling and things like that. But I think they all had kind of the same feelings as I did. Um, where, I'm sure it's probably hard to see your kids grow up.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And they always say it went by in the blink of an eye.
Hmm.
And then I don't know, maybe I get my emotions from my dad too, because he always said that. I think I get my emotions from my dad. My mom doesn't really have any emotions, except angry sometimes, but
Man,
my dad
we're just
does.
throwing mom under the bus today.
Okay, no, that's a lie. She has emotions, and I've seen her cry. So I fully realize she's not like a gremlin. She is a human being, and I love her. But I feel like when it comes to like things like this, my
Yeah.
dad had more outward
Yeah.
emotions, is what I'm trying to
Got
say.
it. Yep. Yep. I get it.
Like, so, um, even Casey will say like your dad is very emotional. Like he'll say something like, Casey, I'm so glad you joined the family. It's so nice to have another, son. We love you. And Casey's like,
Okay.
because his family doesn't
Yeah.
show emotion
Yeah.
at all, like never. So our whole family is very lovey-dovey. And so I don't know. That's always like, but it was always that the same emotions, whether it was like you're getting married or you're going back to school.
Hmm.
Someone was crying. It was probably me, but
Yeah,
so.
I don't know what I didn't ask my parents what their emotions were when I was going to school.
Hmm.
I don't know if it changed or not. I'm sure, like you said, it's probably, you know, it probably was watching grow up. My
Yeah.
dad still doesn't really show a lot of emotion. Um, you know, my mom doesn't show a ton of emotion either, but
Hmm.
it's just not like outwardly, but
Yeah.
I just don't, I don't know. That's just not anything that's
Hmm.
ever really been done in our family. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and every family is just different. Mine,
Yeah.
I guess, is just really freaking dramatic.
Yeah.
But did you ever go? So you worked for your dad when you were older.
Hmm.
Did you ever go to summer school?
I don't think so. I don't remember ever going to
Okay.
summer school.
I remember we went like every year.
Was
Now,
there
whether or
a
not that was my parents choosing that or us choosing that, or it was just easy to just keep sending us to school.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going a lot
Hmm.
to summer school, and I always enjoyed it because you get more fun classes, you get more recess. Like it's not like school,
Yeah.
So it's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I remember going to like the summer camp type thing.
Yeah.
And then if I wasn't doing that, there was times too when I would spend like a couple days with my grandfather or something because
Mm-hmm.
my grandpa was I spent a lot of time with my grandpa as a little kid
Mm-hmm.
because my grandparents, one, when I was really little, lived like literally on the same, like, next door, and
Oh, interesting.
um they, my dad worked a, as much as I do now, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
My mom worked a full-time job. My
Yeah.
grandpa didn't work because he was disabled because he had an
Mm-hmm.
injury at work and couldn't really
Yeah.
work anymore. Um, and so when I was little, he couldn't really work. So I spent a lot of
Mm-hmm.
time with him doing stuff. Went to the park, and when I got older, when I there was a several years when I was in like fourth, fifth grade, third, fourth, fifth grade,
Mm-hmm.
whatever like that, where we had season passes to Silver Dollar City, which is like 30 minutes from us,
Yeah.
and me and him once a week would just go to Silver Dollar City, and we would just
Mm-hmm.
spend the day at Silver Dollar
That's
City.
fun.
So like, and he
Yeah.
always took me. He a lot of times took me to my uh, taekwondo lessons.
Mm-hmm.
So like I did a ton of stuff with my
Just
grandpa.
imagine little Kev chopping it up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Love it.
Yeah, I was like that close to being a black belt.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not a black belt. Really close, but not a black belt.
That's funny.
But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I just did all kinds of stuff like that. But I don't remember ever doing summer school. I
Yeah.
did a lot of other stuff during the summer. Like I said, I worked and other things, but when I got
Mm-hmm.
older, but I don't remember ever doing summer school.
Yeah. Interesting. Another thing I was thinking about is like, I wonder, I think you looked up more of this than I did because I looked at like schools around the world and what they do for like back to school. But I also was curious, and my Aunt Cindy wanted to know because I was talking to her whenever we talked, and she was like, "Oh, you should look up like how schools were different in the past." And um, because I feel like so this happens with every generation, and I realize this, but like Gen Z and Gen Alpha really get trashed. And people are like, we're, raising kids with no education, no empathy, they suck, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
Every
I feel like,
every generation gets that.
yes.
Every
And I'm like,
generation gets that
I
from the generation
know
before.
exactly.
And what
And
I
I know
go
me and
ahead.
my friends are more educated and more empathetic than a lot of the adults we know.
Yeah.
So, and that's a small sample size because I have like seven really good friends, but um, I don't know. But I would then that just got me thinking about generations and what school was like in the past and how
What
it's changed so much.
what I like to tell my dad whenever he starts complaining about all that stuff
Hmm.
is, and this is somewhat factual, but it is, and he agrees. So you can
Hmm.
come at me, but my dad will agree with this. Because he'll say, "Well, your generation does this," and I'm like, "But you raised us that way, so you can't say anything."
Exactly. Yeah.
Because if you're saying something about the way we are, you're the ones who raised us. So
Hmm.
like,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, most of what I found was with school in the uh, back in the olden days, in the early
Ooh.
1900s, so 100 years ago,
Hmm.
was
Okay.
numbers. It was more numbers based on like how many kids
Mm-hmm.
went to school. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, this is actually higher than I thought. So in in 1918, children between the age of 5 and 17, currently it's about 97% of kids that age are enrolled in school,
Hmm.
which is, I mean that sounds, I guess, about right. Like 3% wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
be that seems low, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess that would, I don't know if that accounts for homeschooled or how that works, if that's the 3% is
Yeah.
homeschooled or what. But in the early 1900s, that was 78%, which seemed high to me. I thought that was higher
Mm-hmm.
than what I expected it to be, but 78%. So
Yeah.
it's still a lot lower than what it is now.
Yeah.
Um, Students, of course, didn't go as much as they do now. Uh, the um, average kid had 8 years of schooling versus now they have 13 years of schooling.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so that was a big thing. Obviously, it was more. It was more men that went to school versus women. That was just a thing of the times. Doesn't mean it's right, but that's just what it was back then.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
The school year was shorter. It says that most kids, so the average school year now is 180 days. Back then, the average school year was 162, but most kids only went for 122 days. So you still, even although your average school year was longer or shorter, it still kids didn't even go at that. And this I thought was interesting because I've heard this complaint is that there's too many kids in a class. Like, have you heard that complaint before? Like, oh, there's too many kids per class or whatever. You know, teachers, there's not enough teachers for how many students there are or whatever. Apparently, there used to be more.
Yeah.
There used to be 30 or more students in a class. Which I remember, I feel like I had like 20 students in each of my classes.
Yeah.
But it says
I had a lot too.
It says the average is 14 and a half in the U.S. currently.
Now, there are obviously that city schools are very different than rural schools. I feel like we both went to pretty big schools compared to like people in rural counties who they might have like two other people in their grade level, you know.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
Average is definitely, I'm sure there's probably some outliers too that skew that a little bit.
But yeah. Anyway, that's what I found. Like I said, it's you don't get a lot of other things. Like this is just regular census data and crap like that. So this actually comes from the National Center for Education Statistics. So
yeah. Okay, interesting. The class size thing is interesting. I looked up like schools in different countries. So in the Philippines, not only do they do school in shifts, like 2 shifts of the day, one that starts at like 6 a.m. and then one after lunch, they can have like 65 children in a class, like at once. I guess they have a lot of issues with overcrowding, lack of space, things like that, which is part of the reason for the double shift too. But yeah, that was crazy. I'm like, wow, 65.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing they only have one teacher in that class too? Or would they have? Okay.
Now there are a lot of factors that go into that, like poverty and private schooling and things
I will
like that
say,
too,
and I don't know if you remember this. I remember this a little bit. I didn't do it. I know I think some schools still do it in the United States. It's not it's not as common. But when I was little, there was kindergartens that did half days, that did splits. So there was kindergartens that went from like whenever you started like 7 a.m. to lunch and then lunch. And then there was another kindergarten class that went from lunch to the end of the day. So there was a split shift in some of the schools. I didn't do it. I had an all-day kindergarten. And the school,
I think it was all day.
The school that I went to had both. There was 2 different versions. But yeah, there was, so that is around, and I think it's still around in some places. It's not real common here, but it is. There are some places that it is here. So
yeah. Yeah, I had never heard of that. I guess no schools near us do that, but yeah, so that was like what a day looks like in the Philippines was most schools are in shifts, unless you're wealthy and can send your kid to a private school, and classes can be up to 65. And then some classes are taught in English, some in Tagalog, how do you pronounce that? I'm probably pronouncing that wrong.
Probably.
Okay, and then my Filipino friends are going to hate me. 2 of my best friends who are growing up, Leah and Hannah, are Filipino, and I loved when they invited us over because their moms made the best food. I loved it so much.
They're going to hate you for shouting them out or for just talking about, or for mispronouncing
pronouncing their language wrong. For sure that. Okay. Yep. Another place I looked up, so Finland, it says they triple the recess and don't have homework. They are very, very progressive in
Mm-hmm.
their education model, and it's one of the top in the world. Um, and so they basically keep to a general rule of thumb of 15 minutes of recess per hour of work. So in a normal day, they spend closer to 75 minutes at recess versus like compared to America, it's like 20 to 30
Mm-hmm.
is your
Yeah.
recess, is the average for children. And their thinking there is children don't learn if they don't play. They can't apply their brains if they also don't have playtime. So
That makes sense.
they do that. And then they also don't take standardized tests until they graduate from high school. So not only is the school setup very different, but also teachers are basically like doctors in the United States. Like they are
Yeah.
held in very high regard, which I think they should be, but that's a whole other soapbox we'll get to here in a minute. Um, but so that's basically like if you have a kid and you want a good education, move to Finland. Sounds pretty dang good.
Yeah, that
So
does
that was interesting.
sound like a very good education system if they're
Yeah. Hmm.
if it's I mean if it's ranked
Prioritizing
as
the,
one
the
of the
the
top of the world.
children.
Yeah.
They prioritize the children more than they prioritize test numbers and funding,
Yeah.
which drives me bonkers about here.
Yeah.
Um, and then the UK. So really the UK is pretty similar. They have some differences in like the tiers of schooling and everything, but the biggest difference is instead of starting earlier, like most American schools start pretty early. They don't start until 9 or 10 for most schools.
Oh, you mean like in the day?
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
See,
yeah.
I feel like most schools around here are very, and I don't know if it's like this in Kansas City, but in Columbia, they're very scattered. So you have like some schools
Mhm.
start at 7 and some schools start at like 8:45 because that's just how long it takes to get all the buses running to get everybody to the build. Like you have to
Yeah.
run one round of them to get the little kids there and then you have to run another round of them to get the other ones there. So it just takes that long to
Hmm.
get to everybody and get them to school. So
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of depends on the kid.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they do it in Britain if they're all going to start at 9 and they don't do the bus the same way. I don't know how that works.
Yeah. I have no
But
idea. Um, but that was really the biggest, besides some little like they call the grades a little differently, but
mm-hmm.
it's in general kind of the same
Yeah.
premise we have here. Um, One that was pretty drastically different. Obviously, there are like countries that are at war right now, so obviously their education system is going to look a lot different.
Yeah.
But in the United Arab Emirates, they their schooling's pretty rigid and it's segregated by gender, but more so I focused on because I didn't want to get into a whole gender talk because it'll make me mad. But when it comes to like career paths, so what their parents encourage, that was pretty similar to the United States. So like their parents want them to go into law,
Mm-hmm.
medicine, business, engineering, same things we think here.
Yep.
Finance, whatever it is, the like hard, career paths. And then they don't prioritize at all the arts and humanities, which just hurts my heart a little bit, I say, as a woman in finance, which is definitely a hard science or whatever. But, uh, you know, what makes humans humans is
Is
our ability to feel and think and
yeah.
create.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I hate that the arts and humanities aren't prioritized. Like if I had a kid and they wanted to go into art or music, I would thoroughly encourage that because I think that's what makes our society great.
Yeah.
But not everyone has that same viewpoint.
There's a whole room of musical instruments behind this wall that everybody's looking at
Hmm.
behind me that you know
Hmm.
that nobody sees, but it's there and it's
Yeah.
because it's just yeah, it's more,
Mm-hmm.
it's fun. Like,
Yeah.
it's not what makes me money or anything, but it's enjoyable. That's the thing, is I think art
Yeah.
and music, like, some people can make money off of it, and that's wonderful. And
Yeah.
I'm very happy for those people. A lot of people don't, but
Mm-hmm.
it brings them joy, and that's
And
like,
there are so many studies. This is another
and it's
thing that
creativity.
I
Like,
hate, that it's not prioritized when we're talking about school funding and resources and things. Art and music drive brain power. There have been so many studies that show that children who participate in art and music have, like, their neurons link better. They're firing on all cylinders. They're able to think critically and apply that to math and science and
mm-hmm.
reading. And so I, I don't know. I have lots of soapboxes about
Yep,
how the education and system in the United States is not completely broken, but it needs a lot of fixing.
yep,
And it starts with, I wish we prioritize teachers in our society because they deserve it. They are
yes,
literally stewarding the next
mm-hmm.
generations, and they have to buy their own supplies. They have to make wish list on Facebook to get
Yeah,
crayons for their
which
classroom.
is
Like,
crazy.
it is so sad to me that they are not taken care of and
Yes,
treated poorly, not only by, the system, so to speak, but also by parents. Because I think parents, a lot of times nowadays, are issues. Because I have several friends that have quit teaching and gone into the corporate world. Two of my close friends, and a lot of it was the pay and how you're
mm-hmm.
treated and everything, but a lot of it was the parents as well,
Yeah,
just taking advantage, and schools bowing down to whatever the parents want instead of prioritizing the child's
yeah,
education.
yeah. I concur.
But so all that to say,
Thank
I
you,
have a
teachers.
million rants about that, but thank you, teachers. Yes, thank you very much. You
Sorry,
are
sorry, I have to do
the
this now. I can't do this. Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
Teachers are the foundation of our country.
Yes.
And my favorite quote ever is Nelson Mandela, and he said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." And I truly believe it. I think that all the issues in the world right now stem from either a lack of education or empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that at the heart of all the issues, when you're unable to see other people's ways of lives, understand them, or even just be educated that there are other ways of lives,
Mm-hmm.
that's why we have a lot of issues. So I think
Yeah.
education could change a lot,
Do you have
but not everyone has access to it.
Do you have favorite teachers?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks for getting me off my soapbox. I could go for hours. I did have several favorite teachers. Miss Bowers, Miss Iserman, which no, she's married now. I forget her married name. Borgstadt, I think. Um, but so Miss Bowers was social studies. Miss Iserman was second grade, so she did everything. Um, And then in high school, oh, I'm struggling to remember the name of my AP or dual credit English teacher. She was so cool and I loved her, and we even, like, first year of college, all my friends met back up with her and got hamburgers and stuff and talked about school and English, and I'm blanking on her name. That's so bad. Anyways, that was one of my favorite classes, was her English class. But um I've had a lot of good teachers, and then in college, Miss Jackson was a personal finance teacher, and she was the reason I switched from accounting to finance
Okay. Nice.
and went into financial planning because I realized I wanted to help people instead of help corporations.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
did you have any favorite teachers? You've mentioned one of your teachers
yes,
before
Mr.
several times, I
Shikani.
think.
Mr.
Yeah.
Shikani was
Mm-hmm.
definitely on very high on that list.
Mm-hmm.
I He was an awesome teacher. He used to he was just a just a goofball, and it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was a big music person, so when he would get, if he would get done with his, whatever his, this was in middle school. So if he would get done teaching and we would have like time to work on schoolwork or whatever before we would be done with class, he would play music. Usually it was like the Beatles or Michael Jackson or the Jackson 5 or something like that. It was always stuff like that in class. There was one time, I don't remember why there was so many people. I don't know if it was like standardized testing and like I was in a grade that didn't have to do it or at a different time or something. But he brought in, we watched the Ed Sullivan Show and watched the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show. Like he just brought in DVD and we watched that.
I remember you saying that.
So
yeah.
like all kinds of stuff. There was he also he did a recording one time, and this is how he would do some things like this. He had a recording, like little sound setup, like music setup in his house, and he would record himself doing like to teach because he taught civics, and he would record himself as like Congress. So he was like arguing with himself. So you would hear like 40 of him where he's just like mumbling in the background, like he's the background noise of Congress, and then he's talking over himself and like speaking in like it was hilarious, and loved him as a teacher. So that he was a great teacher. Miss Stitzy and Miss Snowden were my math teachers in high school. They were both great and a lot of fun. I enjoyed having both of them as teachers. Miss Stitzy, I remember, would whenever she taught, what was it? It was polls or something. There was some sort of like, there was something every year that she taught in math class. It was like something that you learned about in every like level of math. And every time she taught it, it was something to do with like, I think it was polls or like extremes or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but she would turn the air conditioner in her room down to like 50 degrees to like make a point, because it's like an extremity thing or something. And so she was just kind of she was just a lot of fun too. Again, I think all of these people have retired by now. And then,
I still follow Miss Borgstadt and Miss Bowers on Instagram.
yeah. So I think I follow a few of them on Instagram. So, but yeah, I can't remember the name of my high school English teacher at the moment, but she was
teachers make such
nice,
an impact.
But yeah,
they're amazing.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. So thank you to all the teachers, because
thank you to teachers.
Deserve it. And yeah, that's yeah. I think it's time.
That's a good place to end.
I think it's time for fun facts.
Yep.
Okay, Nick, what's your fact for this week?
Okay. So in the 16th century, parents in Denmark would give teachers food because they weren't usually paid enough to buy food. Mostly they were apples. And then it's also said that apples were given to teachers because they were the fruit of knowledge per biblical and mythological lore.
Interesting.
So that's why you give an apple to the teacher.
Okay. Interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. So I have two facts that kind of go together. So, and they're global kind of schooling. So, the largest school in terms of number of students is a Montessori school in Lucknow, India. In 2019, it was entered into the Guinness Book of World Records for having 56,000 students on a daily basis.
Wow.
Across 18 campuses in the city with 4,500 staff members.
Wow.
On the other end of that, there is an elementary school in 2014 in Turin, Italy, that had one student and one teacher.
That's funny.
It it has the reputation of being the smallest school in the world.
I love it. I
Uh,
saw there was a island, one of the Scottish Isles, was wanting a teacher, and they only had a couple people, like a couple families on the island, so it would be like very small school. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just,
Pop on over.
yeah. Maybe
Uh,
I'll just see you later.
yeah, that's. Hey, you want to. You really want to live in Scotland. Like, if you could choose, I mean, you probably would love
Yeah.
it. Anyway, I think that's it for this week, folks. We hope
Yep.
you enjoyed this. We hope you had fun. All the kids out there, have fun going back to school. Make it fun, because it can be.
Yeah.
Say thank you to the teachers.
Yes.
And just enjoy your time while you have it in school, because when you become an adult, it's just the same thing every day. So, but anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Bye.